Cause I then listen, let me tell you this. Students, I wanna make we do this. Oh yes, we create this space just for you. Make we talk about you, make we talk about school, government and politics, sports, academics, anything that concern you. I don't know when love pass through. It's all about the gospel. So tell me what one from campus. Youths are going on from campus. Come on, tell me what one. Campus connection, take a data one. Hey, I walk one from campus. And we are carrying out from campus. Come on, tell me what one. I walk one. Hey, walk one. Everybody want more.
Yes, yes, yes. Good evening, everyone. What's happening on Campus Connection this evening? I know persons are wondering, who is this? Who is that? My name is Jeremy Johnson, and I'll be filling in today for Anesta and Jonathan. I'm just asking persons just to pray for Jonathan and Anesta. Jonathan is not feeling well, and Anesta is just taking care of someone also who's not feeling well, and so we want to pray for them. So today's show, we have an awesome show for you today. It is technological upgrade, and you have heard the promo before, and we'll be talking to quite a few persons who know much about technology. And so happening in Campus Connection today, we have first up our education news and bulletin, and that will be done by David Sutton. He's a first-year communications student at NCU. And at 5:40, we have a very, very special interview with Dr. Trevor Dixon. Dr. Trevor Dixon will be represented by Miss Karen. And they are a team of persons here doing quite a lot of things in Jamaica. Now, today, I was actually at Stats, seeing what was happening, and it's just so awesome to see that the medical practitioners coming from US, in Jamaica, and everyone just giving back to Jamaica. This awesome health fair held at Stats today, and it was just an awesome experience, and the atmosphere was just really rich. I saw quite a lot of persons getting care at this place, and so we'll be talking to them more about what is going to happen for this week. And so we continue with I Chose Christ, you should too. We are saying to young people, you need to testify of how God has been good to you. And so we're asking you to message us, send us your messages, and reach out to us at Campus Connection and let us know your testimonies. And also we'll be having our main discussion, technological upgrade, and we'll be talking to Mr. Leon Chisholm. He's the acting principal of Retirement Primary. And then we'll be having a guest, an IT specialist, Mr. Andre Morgan, and we were looking at all of the things that are happening within our education system. You'd have heard some of the things that, primary schools getting upgrade, and we want to discuss some of the issues that are taking place. Are we really outfitting our schools with the technological tools for our children to advance? And are we really exposing our students to technology at an early age so that they can be advanced? And the big question, is technology harming or is technology advancing our young people? And so we have all of that coming up. But right now we'll be having our education news and bulletin today. And this is brought to you by David Sutton. He's a first-year communication student at NCU. Please, before we go to David, we want you to call everyone. Just to go on and tell them that Campus Connection is on and Love 101. Right now, you can tune in at Love 101. You can also go to our Facebook page at Love 101 FM and also our YouTube channel. And you want to see who is in studio today, go on to our Facebook and YouTube pages. And so right now, we'll be having our education news and bulletin for today. And this will be done by David Sutton, first-year communication student at NCU.
Education News and Bulletin for Tuesday, January 16, 2024, here inside Campus Connection. The Ministry of Education and Youth will be rolling out technology labs in primary schools as part of its thrust to develop information and communication technology, ICT, in the nation's education sector. Education Minister, the Honorable Fayval Williams, shared that primary schools usually do not have technology labs. As such, equipping primary institutions with these facilities play a crucial part in promoting the development of critical skills for the digital age. The ministry noted that more than half of the schools slated to receive broadband access have already been connected and that they are working on providing broadband connectivity to all schools. In addition, the ministry is ensuring that they upgrade all the technology labs in high schools. Mrs. Williams was speaking with JIS News on January 8 during her visit to the Queen's School in Kingston. The principal of Church's Teachers College in Mandeville, Garth Anderson, says special needs education is poorly funded and calls for the government to properly fund Jamaica's education system in a way that caters to all learners. Mr. Anderson, in welcoming participants in the 11th Special Education Conference and workshops at the CTC main campus in Mandeville, noted that current underfunded areas, specifically in special needs education, put students that learn at a different pace at risk of being left behind. He added that this eventually fosters conditions that cultivate crime and violence and the overwhelming social ills that currently plague the Jamaican society. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Leighton Johnson, supported Anderson's call for greater funding and added that there is also a need for greater access to special education centers as there are still parishes without special education facilities. Mr. Anderson and Mr. Johnson were speaking at the 11th Special Education Conference and workshops held this year under the theme Exploring Paradigms for Assessment in Special Education. The conference hosted over 250 participants from across Jamaica. Now for the bulletin. The Students' Christian Fellowship and Scripture Union present evangelism training sessions with staff worker Ronaldo Rust. The sessions will be held by region. The Eastern region has had their session on January 11. The Central region will have their session on January 18, and the Western region will have their session on January 25. The Passion and Purity Tertiary Group invites you to their online prayer meeting on January 17, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Meeting ID 227-077-1878, passcode 2024. ABT Promotions present A Better Tomorrow on Friday, February 2, 2024 at 5 p.m. at Mandela Park, Halfway Tree, featuring Ryan Mark, Gotti, Nadine Blair, DJ Troy, Karen Ennis, Kevin Smith, Joanna, Denny, Oben Medley, and Mr. J. Admission is free. That's all the news we have for you today on Education News and Bulletin inside Campus Connection. I'm David Sutton.
Okay, we are riding campus heights. Students are stop up in a price.
Yes. We are back. Thank you so much, David Sutton, a first-year communication student at NCU, for our campus news and bulletin. And for those who are just joining, my name is Jermaine Johnson, and I'm here today, and we'll be talking about technological upgrade. Yes, what is happening in our schools? There's a great desire for education system to be outfitted with technological tools for our students to advance. We will focus on our youth being exposed to technology in learning at an early age and ways in which the advancement of technology is helping or harming our children. And so we have quite a bit coming up, and we are asking persons to interact with us on Facebook, on YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica, or you can message our WhatsApp line at 876-997-3125. And our social media question for today, we want to hear from you. Do you think our schools are equipped with the technological tools for our children to advance? So the question again is, do you think our schools are equipped with the technological tools for children to advance. So we want to hear from you. Are our schools equipped? You want to tell us what you think. It's your feedback. Some schools are highly, efficient in the technological era. And we see quite a lot happening, from the investments made by the Ministry of Education. But we want to hear from you. What is it that you think? And so at this time, we have a special interview. We'll be joined by Miss Karen Shields, and she's a Jamaica liaison for the Jaja Foundation Missions for Jamaica 2024. So the Jamaicans Abroad Helping Jamaicans at Home Foundation, Jaja Foundation, main mandate is to raise awareness to improve the health and education to enhance the quality of life for underserved in Jamaica, for the underserved in Jamaica. The Jaja Foundation has been conducting their annual mission for change since 2014. That's quite a lot of years. They have returned with the largest contingent to date, approximately 60 volunteers consisting of nurses, medical doctors, gynecologists, EMTs from the USA, and from our local membership support. So this year's mission will run from January 14 to January 21, 2024. And online, we have Miss Karen Shields, or Jamaica liaison. Miss Karen Shields, good evening. Welcome to Campus Connection.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Good evening to your listeners.
Man, I'm telling you, so happy to have you. I saw a spectacle today, and I'm saying this thing needs to be, spread across Jamaica. All across Jamaica, persons should be doing this, health fairs. And I saw how it worked with the school community, where students were able to access dental care and different things that are happening. But we want to learn more about this foundation, and I want to hear from you. What was the idea behind the formation of this foundation?
Well, the founder and CEO of the organization, it all started with him. He is Dr. Trevor Dixon, a physician himself, an emergency physician, attending physician, now working at the Jacobi Medical Center in Bronx, New York. He was the one that decided that, of course, with Jamaica, being born in Jamaica, when you go away and you have the opportunity to make something of yourself, you want to, give back to where you're from. And so Jamaica is where he was born, and he thought of what he could do. And so because he is specializes in ultrasound and teaching ultrasound technology, he thought of starting with doing training the doctors in the public hospitals here in Jamaica. And so it was actually back in 2007, he decided to take a trip. He and a friend of his went down to the Kingston Public Hospital to check out what was happening, because he thought that was a good place to start, because of course, KPH being a level 1 hospital in Jamaica, where when anything happens, if you're in the serious condition, they will transfer you there. So he went there and he met Dr. Hugh Wong, who is the head of the emergency unit there, the consultant in the emergency department at the Kingston Public Hospital. And it all started with both of them, who pioneered the first emergency ultrasound and critical care focus, point of care ultrasound workshop. And of course, it grew from there to doing other things. He started to do mission trips where he was able to network his fellow physicians and medical personnel, nurses and dentists to come to Jamaica. And so that part of the initiative started in 2014, but it really was
way before 2014.
Conceptualized in 2007.
That is so awesome. And as I said, I just saw what happened today, and I was so impressed to see all volunteers, all the doctors going through and attending to not just children, but also adults who were on the facility. But we want to hear, what's the main target? Because I understand there's a main focus each year, And so what's the year's mission? What's this year's target?
For this year, our focus, each year we focus on doing health fairs across the island. And we move across we started in St. Thomas yesterday, and we moved to Kingston today at the St. Andrew Technical High School. Tomorrow we'll be in Trelawney. On Thursday we'll be in Negril at the Negril Community Center, and on Friday we'll be at the Little London Methodist Church. So our focus is to try to provide health care to persons who, sometimes it's not easy to get to when you go to the local medical facilities.
Right.
The resources are there, but it's limited. And so we want them to, be able to get medical checks, get the dental checks done, because, of course, especially dental, you know how expensive that is.
Yes, it is.
And
very expensive.
right. And so this is something that will benefit those who are not able to afford it. So that is one of the main projects that we do while on the mission trip. But we do have two other initiatives that are very important. One of them is this year we did the 16th annual emergency and critical care point of care workshop at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. And that is where we have doctors, physicians, part of some of our volunteers who came down from are here from the United States, and they assist in training and sharing knowledge with local physicians on how to use, the ultrasound device and ultrasound technology to improve the treatment of patients in the public hospitals.
Wow.
And this was trained to doctors across the island from all the public hospitals and in the areas of accident and emergency, and also maternal and fetal medicine.
Wow. So this is a big project,
yes,
massive. Yes. So I understand that while the health fair was going on at Stats, there was another meeting at the Pegasus. That's where this training took place?
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. So, and it's a 2-day training. The emergency side of the training is a 2-day initiative, and that has started yesterday, and today was the second day it ended. And the maternal and fetal medicine was a 1-day training seminar led by Dr. Garfield Clooney, who is a maternal, and Dr. Maria Small, who both are maternal and fetal medicine specialists. Dr. Clooney is from NYU Langone, and Dr. Maria Small is from Duke University.
Wow.
So they came down, took their time to come to Jamaica to give their expertise to train the physicians here in Jamaica.
Wow.
And we had a host of physicians from the Jacobi Medical Center join for the emergency part of the workshop.
Wow, this is a lot of information, but we are going to continue our interview right after we are coming up on our first break. And so we want to continue our interview with Miss Karen and Shields, and she is the Jamaica liaison for the Jaja Foundation. So see you back right after these messages.
When you're cooking or baking, begin with the best. The trusted tradition of Benjamin's vanilla flavorings and colorings. Mix it, stir it, blend it all around and create something spectacular. Whether you're making cakes, custards, puddings, punches, or savory meals, Benjamin's vanilla flavorings and colorings add that special touch to everything. And here's something else special. Benjamin's ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, anise, and mixed spice are now available in liquids.
Yes, everything tastes better with Benjamin's.
Benjamin's, a trusted name for over a century.
Get ready for a worship-filled time inside Love in the Morning with me, your host, Jakal Dyer, this Wednesday, January 17. Grab your cup of coffee and we'll start the day right with the Morning Coffee Pick-Me-Up Devotional at 6 a.m. At 7 a.m., we bring to you the Morning Watch with intriguing and thought-provoking discussions. At 8:30 a.m. inside The Healthy Way, we discuss benefits of a good night's rest. 9:30 a.m. is Something More, brought to you by the Faith Cathedral Deliverance Center. Stick and stay with us. This Inspiration Wednesday inside Love in the Morning, 5 to 10 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
Okay, we are on the campus nights. Students are step up in a price.
Yes, we are the campus sites. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back, and we are in discussion on Campus Connection with Miss Karen Shields. She's the Jamaica liaison for the Jaja Foundation, and we are talking about the mission 2024 and what you guys are doing, and we're hearing quite a bit. I'm saying, putting a plug here for you that persons need to reach out to you because, again, what I saw today was just so amazing. It needs to be multiplied more and more and more throughout the year. But I want just two more questions I have for you, Ms. Shields. How has your organization changed or grown over the years? I know you told me about 2007 and going into 2014, but since then, what has really taken place, from the inception until now?
Well, I think one of the biggest changes that we have been able to garner more support. We have a lot more volunteers this year, more than we've ever had. We started off as I've been a part of this foundation from the early days as well. And I can recall when we did our first mission, it was just 8 persons.
Wow.
And
From
so
8 to
we are
now
going
60?
to
Wow.
60 persons.
That is growth.
That has changed a lot. I think through our promotion and social media, thanks to our media specialist, Mr. Garvin Gray, our presence and visibility has grown, and so the work that we've been doing has highlighted through social media and other on our websites and on YouTube, and because of that, persons are seeing the impact of what we're doing. So I think the impact has grown and a lot. We have been able to make more contribution to the underserved in Jamaica, and so because of that, we have been able to garner more support, more volunteers, more sponsorship, more support, and we still need more because
Right.
There's so much to be done, and
Yes.
so it takes money, it takes finances to make it happen, and so we want to appeal to the persons out there who want to help, especially you'd be surprised that a lot of the persons that are with us, that support us, are not Jamaicans.
Wow.
So we invite Jamaicans, non-Jamaicans, friends of Jamaica who want to see an improvement in healthcare overall. If COVID taught us nothing, it was that health is wealth. We can do nothing if we don't have good health. And so it's very important to, invest in that. And so we have really grown. A lot has changed. We have taken on a lot of other projects because we started first with ultrasound. Then we moved into doing mission trips and health fairs. And now we're doing other impactful projects such as the Jamaica Emergency Medical Service Project, which is something that we're trying to launch in the Grill with a pilot project. We are attempting to implement a community volunteer first responder system where there's a free ambulance service for the community, and we train persons within the community in CPR and first responder, so they can assist each other whenever there is an emergency in their area.
You guys are doing quite a lot, and it's just I'm just so happy for what I'm hearing. But we're going to wrap this discussion and just tell our listeners, those on YouTube, those viewing, how can people get in touch with your organization?
Well, as I said, we have a strong social media presence. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and on Instagram. We also have a website, www.jajafoundation.org. You can contact us through email, info@jajafoundation.org as well. And before we wrap up, I really want to thank some persons. If you
go ahead quickly. You have about 30 seconds.
I want to thank our sponsors, the American Friends of Jamaica, who supports our Jamaica Handheld Ultrasound Project. Catherine's Peak Water for always keeping us hydrated every year. They've been supporting us, giving us water for the volunteers and beverages, great food. Cuckoo's Place, who's doing dinner for us tomorrow night. Cuckoo's and Springboard Incubators. Travelers Resort, St. Thomas Renaissance Foundation. They took care of us yesterday while we were in St. Thomas. Jamway Beach Club, Cornerstone, Dennis Shipping, and Colgate, who gave us some supplies, dental supplies, and our partners, the Jacobi Medical Center, the Global Ultrasound Institute, the Negril Chamber of Commerce, and the Ministry of Health and its affiliates, all the different regions that have assisted us to make this mission successful.
Wow. I'm just so happy. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us so much information. And, I pray that the sponsorship will increase, and also your mission will increase from 1 week to 2 weeks. I agree, right? And so thank you so much.
I do agree. And thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. God bless you. God bless you. So you have it there from Miss Karen Shields. She is a Jamaica liaison for the Jaja Foundation Mission 2024. At this time, we are moving on in the program, and we have a feature that we cannot miss each week. And we are asking you again to just reach out to Love 101 FM, reach out to Campus Connection, and send in your testimony. And today we have for I Chose Christ feature Miss Amoy Ricketts. She is from the Texila American University that's in Guyana, and she's a fourth-year Doctor of Medicine student. So I want to listen to this awesome testimony from Miss Amoy Ricketts.
My name is Amoy Ricketts, a 22-year-old student studying at Texila American University, where I'm pursuing a career in medicine. And today I would like to share my testimony of why I chose Christ. So for the longest time, I've been struggling with a condition called hidradenitis suppurativa, and this is basically inflammation of the sweat glands, and it typically appears on the groin and the underarm region, and in atypical situations, the head, face, and chest. So this condition, it tends to leave crates after the abscesses or the cysts have drained, and it's quite painful. So I can't even remember how long I've been struggling with this condition. I just know that as a child, I've been to the dermatologist time and time again, and that I just knew that I wanted this to go away. It made me insecure because I wasn't able to wear sleeveless, or I was fearful of what people would think when they see these scars on me. So I remember one day going down on my knees and saying, God, please deliver me. I know the world says there is no cure, but please, God, I know the God that I serve. If you could have risen the dead, I know what you can do for me. And I remembered last year I was studying for my exit exams so that I could enter into the hospitals to do my rotations. And I was studying for 6 non-stop months for a minimal of 8 to 12 hours a day to prepare for this exam. Doubting myself, I called my dad 2 a.m. crying. I was outside and I said, Daddy, please, I'm not well. Pray for me. And mentally, I was frustrated, and my body was shutting down. And I remember how fearful he was for me. And he prayed for me, and he called his friends to pray for me. And I can tell you that on the day of my results, I opened it and I saw a pass. And I said, thank you, Jesus. And my dad was the next person I had called. And going through that stressful situation, I was fearful of the flares that I would have experienced because it tends to get worse with stress. And I can tell you that to this day, it's been over a year that I've experienced a flare, a cyst, an abscess, and that's all because of Jesus. And this is my testimony of why I chose Christ, and you should too.
Awesome testimony there from Amoy Ricketts. Yes, young people wanted to testify. We are saying, choosing Christ is the best way. And so right now we are going to go into our discussion, our main discussion today. And we're talking about technological upgrade. And we are asking some questions here. Are our students ready? Are our schools fitted with the tools for our students to advance? And joining me in this discussion this afternoon are 2 awesome gentlemen. I'm telling you, these gentlemen are coming ready, power-packed, and to give us some information. And we have first up Mr. Leon Chisholm is the acting principal of Retirement Primary. Leon is a critical thinker who is humbled and inspired by educational pursuits or endeavors that focuses on the law of use in a spirit of harmony. He is a graduate of Magothy High School and Bethlehem Moravian College, where he completed his Bachelor of Education with emphasis in computer studies. Leon has over 18 years of experience as a teacher, with 9 of those years being a senior teacher with special responsibilities of timetable coordinating and also a host leader at Magothy High School. He has also served as acting vice principal and past students chairman. Leon currently serves as the acting principal of the Retirement Primary School, as well as first elder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church at Barton. He's married to Keisha, who is beauty personified. I'm looking at what is here, And Kian is son of who he says is a sole contribution to the world's population. I've never heard it like that before. Welcome, Sir Chisholm, to the program. And then we have Mr. Andre Morgan. He's an IT specialist. And Andre is also the CEO of Live Events Jamaica. And Live Events Jamaica is a trailblazing company that has redefined the event of industry in the landscape since its inception in 2014. And he also specializes in comprehensive service such as photography, streaming, videography, also media services. Live events has become very synonymous with creating unforgettable experiences, and this company really has moved from its inception and right now making a mark in society. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right. I don't know if you guys are muted. Not hearing.
Good afternoon.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm hearing one person. So do we have the other gentleman?
Yes, good afternoon.
All right. So I'm hearing Andre now. All right. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing extremely well. Glad to be on the program. Let me just say hello to the Love FM family and Mr. Morgan. Hello, sir.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I'm doing quite well. Looking forward to this discussion, and good evening to fellow cast members as well.
Man, I'm telling you, sounding like a true principal a while ago, Mr. Chisholm. I'm telling you, hear the voice, I'm here. But we want to have some discussions and go into some questions and see how best we can get an understanding of what's happening within our education space. And the question to you, and both of you can sound off on this, give you like a minute or so. Do you think our schools are equipped with the technological tools for our children to advance? And Mr. Chisholm, you'll be first up.
Okay, no problem. I don't believe our schools are equipped with the technological tools that we need to advance. There are some schools that have some things that will help, but to really get students where you want them to be in this technological age, our schools are not equipped, and much more will have to be done to get them to advance in a way that we'll feel comfortable with from an IT perspective.
All right, straight ahead. Yes, Mr. Morgan.
No, I don't believe that the schools are equipped. Some schools might have some technology, but they don't have the necessary personnel to monitor and implement the technology either. So from my side, no, the schools aren't equipped to enhance learning with technology.
So you are saying that there needs to be some improvement in this area?
Yes, not just equipment, but personnel as well. Well, some schools maybe in the Kingston area might be okay, but for the rest of the island, most of them don't have.
Wow, you see, you touched something a while ago, and I wanted to explain. You're not just going to jump over that like that, Mr. Morgan, right, Mr. Chisholm? So you're saying you're telling me that schools that are in the corporate area will have a certain kind of outfit, right? And they are much better.
Yes.
Give us from your experience of traveling around Jamaica about the rural schools.
All right. So in most cases, rural schools don't even have internet. A lot of them.
Interesting.
Mr. Chisholm laughing. It's true. And if they do have internet, it is sometimes unreliable. I remember recently we were talking to a principal about connectivity at her school. And she says that the phone that uses the data there is a spot on the school that they have to go to and hotspot it from there, and that is how they would try to check their emails and make external connections. And I think when speaking to Flow and other service providers, some of them are saying that the terrain of the area makes it a bit difficult. And I think the consistent theft of the fiber cables and so on makes it difficult. So it's really rough out there. They don't even have internet. A lot of them don't have proper computer systems either. And from my understanding, a lot of them, they are saying that they're not necessarily getting the necessary budgetary support from central government for them to enhance themselves in a technological manner. So yeah, it's rough out there. Believe me.
Wow. Mr. Chisholm, I think you want to jump in on that because I know you're from St. Elizabeth. You know what's happening there.
Well, I will comment on my former school and the school that I am at. Must say at Magati High School, where I'm coming from before I started at retirement, we do have good internet connectivity. Our principal was on the forefront, so to speak, in trying to get us technologically advanced as best as possible. That is Sean Graham. He would ensure that as it comes to internet connectivity, sometimes we have maybe more than 1, 2, sometimes even 3 running. So our school wasn't so bad because when COVID hit, we were far more advanced than a lot of schools. But when it comes to like the primary schools in the rural areas, two things. One, they don't have the equipment, and a lot of times they don't have the personnel. So even if the person is of a mind sometimes to get it, sometimes they don't know how to go about it exactly. And sometimes the folks that they have to deal with sometimes give them the runaround also. So they really need a person who is able to drive it. And a lot of times they don't have that.
So you're saying the technology is not just talking about the hardware now, we're talking about personnel and individuals to actually run. So there's a resource problem in terms of human resource, and putting in computers won't necessarily fix the problems that exist. Mr. Chisholm, I will continue with you. You know, you're in a primary school. I think you want to say something, Mr. Morgan?
No, man, go ahead. No, man.
Okay, yeah. So, Mr. Chisholm, you're in a primary school. Are students being exposed to the use of technology at the primary level since you have been there? Is that a yes and no? What are you seeing?
Well, I can only talk about one primary school since I just started primary school recently.
No problem,
I've always been in primary school.
Right.
But the primary school next door me, when we were at high school, which was Glen Stewart, they do have some amount of technology and internet connectivity, and they do some amount of IT. At my school, we are doing that as well, and we are exposing from grade 4 to grade 6 with a bit of technology, or at least to help them to learn the basics of computing. But we want to do something else. As we get along in the discussion, we'll talk about. But the primary schools that I know a couple around, there's not a great deal. And I really believe that there should be some amount of emphasis on the primary school to get them ready for high school, because I think they learn far better at primary school than high school.
Well, you said that statement. I want to really underscore that point. You're saying at the primary level, it's best if we start concentrating. I saw an article recently where the Minister of Education would have indicated that we are looking at the primary school area. So you're saying early exposure is much better than waiting until they come to high school?
Yes, I'm definitely saying that, because they are more interesting in some. There's less distraction for primary school students. So if you can get them with the foundation from primary school, it will serve them better overall. If you think about it, a lot of the things that we learn at primary school, we tend to carry them through high school. And if we can get it at a place, especially if we can get them hands-on, because they like to learn with their hands. And if we can get to be teaching them the technology, especially hands-on, it will serve them better than when they get to high school.
Well, I'm telling you, that is very interesting. Mr. Morgan, how do you want to, you know, what are, I know we listed a few benefits a while ago, Mr. Chisholm, about early exposure. You are in the technological arena and maybe not necessarily in the classroom, but what are your ideas and thoughts towards this early exposure? Isn't it that every child has a cell phone? Is that enough? You know, to exposure for them? What do you have to say about that?
All right, I'd say it does both sides. It does good and bad. And here is why. if you have students being exposed to technology without learning to be responsible, then that will create a great problem. And I think for we are, because I do work in the high school scenario, just that I don't necessarily teach,
Right.
and we realize something that they are exposed to technology, but because the responsibility factor is not necessarily there, then they use the technology as a tool for mischief or chaos at times. You
Okay.
understand? I remember once, I saw, this is an example. I saw a student who was on like Instagram or something, and when I disconnected them from the internet, and they came another day to do a research, and to tell you, they did not know how to use Google to do a research. They
Wow.
didn't know. You understand? So it does some good, to the student that is developed, mature, and wants to learn. It helps them beautifully. But to the students who does not have that interest in learning, then it does a lot of harm. And I think sometimes exposing them, and most parents, they don't necessarily know the tools to use to filter them or to have a controlled access for the children. So the students have the worldwide, well, the children have the worldwide internet, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
In their hands, you understand? Because there isn't any filters or restrictions set on it. So it does good on one side, and on another side, it does harm because of the
And as you are leading in that direction now, we want to, ask you the question, and Mr. Chisholm can chime in afterwards. But what advice would you want to give to parents who would again love to develop their children, in their children, a positive attitude towards the use of technology, despite all the negatives that you were saying a while ago? How is it, someone listening right now, a parent, a guardian, how is it that you will advise them right now as to creating those locks, or helping to stop some of the things that are happening with their children? So I want you to help our parents. I want them to feel that level of comfort now to say, okay, Andre said this and I got some good advice, practical advice, and Mr. Chisholm from a school standpoint as well. You can go ahead.
All right. So as a parent, first thing, you as a parent should be the one to set up the phone. Now, when you're setting up your phone, especially if it's a Google phone, ensure that you put in the child's age, and Google allows a child account for children who are 13 years and under. And you now would have a parent account now that can control access on that particular phone. So you can, this is phone, tablet, any Google
Any device.
Yeah, man. So then you can now control the time that they have access to. You can control the screen time for the day. You can control whether they can install things or so on. You can control access to the browser. All of that, you can control it as long as you have a parental account. And if that child would want to install something, it will send you a notification and you have to approve that install. So that's one way you can setting up a child account on your children's devices. That is one way. If they have computer systems, when you're creating an account for them on the computer systems, set it as a child account too. So have two accounts on your computer system, one for the parent and the other for the child, and have the restrictions there. If you speak to most persons who sell computer systems, they can help you in setting it up. So that is the first level of restrictions that you can have in place.
At least some basic stuff. That
yes, some basic stuff. Yeah.
Mr. Chisholm, anything you want to add to that?
Well, since Andrea go from the technical, I will just go a little bit from the social perspective.
Yes, that's what I want.
I would encourage parents to embrace technology.
Yes.
They have to understand it is here to stay. With all the dangers thereof, it is here to stay, and their children are going to use it. And in that sense, I'm saying parents will now have to learn as fast as they can, so they can actually help their children to mitigate against some of the dangers that are out there. And the only way they can do that is that they have to spend some time and learn the technologies. Just as Andre mentioned, I set up my son's phone, and one day come and he's asking, he should be able to just add the apps by himself.
No.
So you have to be there, you have to learn it and embrace it, knowing that it is here to stay. And there is always going to be dangers. If I may say this, my mother said I shouldn't go to the football field and play football. I'm going to break my foot. And for the last 30 years, I don't think two persons have break their foot at the football field where I am. So there are always going to be dangers. You have to be ahead of them to ensure that let me help you navigate these dangers, which means the parents will have to go and learn as fast as they can, and as much as possible. So they will be in a place to direct or guide their children.
Wow. This has been an interesting discussion, and we are coming up on our final break right here on Campus Connection, and we are saying to stick and stay. We want you to go on our Facebook page, go on our YouTube page at Love 101 FM Jamaica, share the live, and also check our WhatsApp line. You can send us a message at 997-3125. We come back right after these messages.
We are on the campus heights. Students are step up in a price.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
When you say phosphorus, you say electrical. SWA cables, conduits, transformers, and breakers. When you say phosphorus, you say lighting, chandeliers, and more. When you say phosphorus, you say LEDs and solar water heaters. Phosphorus is electrical, lighting, solar, and LEDs. Visit us today, Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Phosphorus.
Walk on, everybody want more.
Yes. Welcome back to Campus Connection, and we are talking to Mr. Andre Morgan and Mr. Leon Chisholm, and we are discussing technological upgrade. And you, again, if you missed out anything on it, we are asking you to go to our Facebook and YouTube page at Love 101 Jamaica. And you will see this program again, and we want to share with everyone. And we were in the discussion, gentlemen, and you were giving some wonderful tips to our parents and guardians about, the use of technology. But we want to go a little further in the discussion because we have just a few minutes left. But I think you touched on this, Andre, prior, about the advancements of technology, if it's helping or harming our children. And I saw you said yes in one instant. And so I wanted just to, in a minute, share again that point. And also, Mr. Chisholm, what do you think? You are saying persons are supposed to embrace the technology, but really and truly, is it really harming or helping our children? Go ahead, Andre.
All right. So to a point, I would say yes, it is helping them. I've seen... because especially using some of the learning related tools, I've seen children producing some beautiful projects and products. She's about 8 or 9 year old, do a PowerPoint presentation for my birthday, recommending places that I should go to celebrate. You understand? And she's very young. Yeah. So I've seen them, and for children who are mature, who are focused, it does help them beautifully in enhancing their lives. So I would say yes, it does help, but there must be that social responsibility in place, but it does help.
Okay, Mr. Chisholm.
All right. Currently, I think there's more harm than help. A lot of stuff, good stuff is happening, but as Andre mentioned, without the control, it's doing a little more harm than good. The truth is, if we are able to control it better, it will serve to help them far more. Because if we just roll back a little, with high school students, you might take it for granted that they have their phones and everything. So yes, they are savvy with technology. But if the truth be told, they're more savvy with games and social media. You have high school students who you tell them to send an email, and they struggle to send an email. And these are students that have phone all day. They are on it all day. And if, as was mentioned earlier, I serve as vice principal and had to deal with some of the problems that students use the Instagram and the different platforms
And
to
no TikTok.
create. So you have a few students that actually have their own page and they are really sending out valuable information. And some of them who are using it for forex trading and all of that and making money. But the amount is not, it's not a lot. When you think about it, you have more students who are inclined to use it for social media, games, and create some problems, as against the students who are using it for something valuable.
And I want you to really touch on this because we're talking about some things that are not happening. But how do we help young people, right, youth that are in this challenge, overcome some of the maybe anxieties or fears surrounding the use of technology? Because we're here talking about this happening and whatever it is. How is it that we can, give a practical example of how are we going to help? Mr. Chisholm, you can continue on that vein, and then we'll have Andre chiming in.
All right. If I made us, I was reading an article earlier where this Italian Journal of Practice said 66% of students spend 4 hours or more on their devices since the pandemic, as against 16% before. Now that's a lot of time spending on a device. So then we talk about theft of identity, all of that kind of stuff that tend to plague persons. So the first thing I would want to be telling students is to be careful what you put out whenever you're online. Be careful of the information that you're going to put. Just give as little as possible. Don't volunteer information. I would also want to tell them, ensure you go to secure site. Make sure there is an SSL somewhere there with a S after the HTTP to ensure that it's something safe that you want to go into. So I would want to tell them that basic. And then I would also want to encourage them to learn as much about how you can protect yourself online. Don't volunteer information. Learn as much as you can and get help. Because a lot of times they want to do something and they're not sure about it, but they just decide, this is what I want to do. Get somebody who have the know-how so you can get some amount of guidance. And that will help to save them from some of the problems that will occur further down the road.
Yes, thank you. So much advice. Andre?
Yes, all right. So I think maybe it would, it would take a lot of re-socialization because from the parental side, we'd have to allow the children to understand that, look here, this tool should be a tool to enhance learning or to enhance life, not just for idling and whatever else they do with it. You understand? So it would take some re-socialization. As Mr. Chisholm said, we have to re-socialize them about the dangers of the internet as well, for them to understand that threats are not just the man who will just come and kidnap you in a car.
Okay.
You have to let them understand that there are real threats online, identity theft, a lot of things. So I guess it would come right back around to parenting, and the parents now would have to be upgraded now in how they pass on information to their children about the dangers of life. And we'd have to, maybe we need to have a parental technology course or something.
Man, Andre, you're talking, you heard it right here on Love 101 on Campus Connection first. I'm just letting you know that to all the persons listening out, you heard it first on Campus Connection. Go ahead, Andre.
Yes, for us to educate the parents on how they can help their children in being protected online, not just physical protection now, but they need some form of cyber protection now. So I think it would take some re-socialization to have this problem fixed.
Wow. If I may add one point.
Yes, go ahead, Mr.
From the school perspective and curriculum-wise, I think we have to get at a place where we make technology more exciting. In order, and I'm saying this in the
line. What are you saying, sir? That is the teachers and school not making anything exciting, Mr. Chisholm. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I said more excited.
Oh, more excited. Okay, then, Mr. Chisholm, go ahead.
All right, but I think we have to make it more practical.
Yes.
So students want to do more, and that will keep them away from this negative things a whole lot more. Because I remember when I was teaching a practical subject, whenever the boys are making something, they give no problems. They're good. They're happy. They're ready to go and just show off their stuff. And I'm saying that if we school curriculum wise, if we make it less theoretical, get them to do some simple things. I mean, a simple thing as doing vinyl on a car, where you kind of get that sort of excitement. Start teaching them how to make some little apps or some little website where they can come and they can say, this is what I make, this I put online, and they're excited about it. They want to tell their friends about it, so they don't have to focus on the negative.
Mr. Chisholm, I'm coming to your school to see by Andre. We're gonna visit Mr. Chisholm's school.
For real.
To go and see Mr. Chisholm, doing these things that he's saying, right, Mr. Chisholm? And
Yes,
allowing your boys to do some apps coming out of your school. Yes. Really, we have a final question for you, and this is really a serious question, and it's no means the least in all of the discussion, but very important. How does an institution now protect large volumes of data as we are moving towards this digitization of records? I saw the Minister of Health the other day talking about that in the health ministry, and we see some things happening within our schools. But how institutions, and I want to throw this to Mr. Chisholm first, and then I know Andre is ready because this is right up his alley, because I want to leave with that advice to schools. So Mr. Chisholm, how?
All right. Firstly, institutions have to have clear guidelines on how they're going to set up their data and who is in control of what, and ensure that these are applied and that they are being followed. Right. I also want to say, top administrator, if you have a system administrator on top, he should have access and the ability to view everything. You shouldn't have somebody who can enter your network and you don't know when this person had entered and actually what was done. So you should be able to view everything that you have and have an overall view of what is happening on his network regularly. So if anything goes wrong, if there's theft somewhere, if somebody's trying to go somewhere where they should not be, he will know immediately. Also, I still believe, I know everything is online, but I still believe in physical backup because persons just don't go around searching for a hard drive to say, I believe this is on it. So I still believe in physical backup where your data stored somewhere periodically. So if anything goes wrong, you can have your data again. So those are the two that I would use. Also, I would also, in the same light, just encourage whatever you're doing, ensure that whatever certificate, whether it's a SSL or TLS, ensure that they are there. So as soon as you start putting things online, you have some amount of encryption and protection. So it's not as easy for somebody to tamper with your stuff.
Set up the protection before you start to build a base then.
Right.
Or protection before you start uploading. Andre?
Yes. All right. So data, well, you have the physical data and the electronic. Right. So you have the students' records. So student records should be stored in a secure place, the physical records now, and there should be controlled access to that. All right. And that is basic, and we are to have that set. All right. Now, as it relates to records that are online, ensure that whichever company you employ, or if you have an internal database, ensure that there is controlled access. All right. You have to have user privileged access. So if you are a teacher, you have certain access, the administrator, certain access, office worker, certain access. So you should only have access based upon the work that you should be doing on the database. All right. I see a lot of schools now who are digitizing their students' records. So what you should do, ensure that whichever company you are using to digitize your students' record, ensure that they're compliant, especially with the data protection policies, ensure that they're compliant, two-factor authentication as it relates to changing records, other types of digital security, ensure that it is in place.
And they should contact you if they want more information. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on. This was Campus Connection. We were talking to Mr. Chisholm, Andre Morgan as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We also heard from Omoy Ricketts. Dr. Trevor Dixon couldn't make it, and so we heard from Miss Karen Shields. and Davidson for Education News and Bulletin. I'm Jermaine Johnson, and I want to say thank you so much for joining us, and see you next week as we look on youth and earthquake awareness. God bless you, everybody, and take care right here on Campus Connection.